Continuing our special report into the changing newspaper landscape, we talked to respected business and finance journalist Alan Kohler. 7 years ago, after a high-profile career as a newspaper man, the former editor of the Financial Review and The Age, Kohler set off on a relatively risky venture. He left behind the world of newsprint. He talked a few other respected journo mates into joining him. He got some backers and he started online business and finance journalistic websites, Eureka Report and then Business Spectator. Now, News Limited is paying a reported $30 million for these websites. I spoke to Alan Kohler a short time ago. Alan Kohler, welcome to Late Agenda.
Thank you, Helen.
Now, if the online space is the growing market for journalism and if your business is doing so well, why sell out now?
Well, look, I had financial investors who've been with me for 7 years, own 60% of the business, and they're private equity, venture capitalists. They were looking for an exit, and we felt obliged, and were obliged, in fact, to engage. We had some offers. Fairfax approached us, then News Limited approached us, and so we had to engage, and we put a price on the business. Fairfax was unable to, or unwilling to meet that price, but News Limited was, so there it was. That's what happened.
Well, I suppose $30 million, which is the rumoured amount, gives you and the backers 30 million reasons to sell, but on the other side, what does your business give to News Limited?
Well, it gives them an opportunity to grow in the online space. I mean, you know, obviously newspapers are going through a difficult time. That, you know, they're shrinking. They're having to adjust to the new world. Because we started online and we are online only, you know, we've got potential to grow. We've got a low-cost base. We understand the online world. We've really learnt a tremendous amount. Even though all of us in the business are newspaper people, we've kind of learnt how to do online now, and so we're able to bring that to News Limited and kind of teach them a thing or two, I think, but also provide them with an opportunity to grow, but also to provide a niche business and wealth platform that the News Limited doesn't currently have. I mean, Business Spectator is a specialist business publication, obviously, and Eureka Report, a very successful wealth and investment publication. And although Fairfax has those things in the Financial Review, BRW and Smart Investor, News Limited doesn't, so we provide them with those publications as well.
By the same token, though, won't Business Spectator and Eureka Report compete with and potentially cannibalise the Australian's business section, for example?
Oh, no, we'll complement the Australian. Very much so. I mean, we're part of the same stable now as the Australian. The Australian is a general publication. Yes, it's got a business section and it has a wealth section as well. But we'll work with them, provide them with more leverage, and you know, I think that really it is a case of 1 + 1 + 1 equaling more than 3.
How serious, more generally, let's have a look at, I'd be interested in your view, is how serious is the need for newspapers to move much more into the online world?
Well, I think there's no question that they have to. I mean, the mantra these days is to become digital first. I think that that's the case. That's what they have to do. Their future lies in digital. That's not to say that newspapers are going to die in a minute. You know, maybe there'll be a time in the future when there are no newspapers, but at the moment newspapers are selling quite a lot of copies and making a lot of money, so nobody's in a hurry to shut them down. But on the other hand, it's clear that more and more people are using either websites or iPads or iPhones to access their information. So there's no question that newspaper companies, publishers, have to move into that. I'm not sure that newspaper companies yet fully understand what it really means to be digital first. We are digital only, so we kind of do understand it, I think. But
and what does it mean then?
Well, there's a big difference between publishing a newspaper and publishing a website or an iPad. A big difference. They're entirely different things. You know, websites and iPads and applications operate 24 hours. They have to operate 24 hours. Newspapers come out once a day. The whole idea of having a daily deadline is meaningless online. And that might seem like a little thing, but it's actually a really big thing. It's a big cultural change. And we've got around that. We understand it now. We operate. Business Spectator operates 24 hours. The site is operated between the hours of midnight and 8 a.m. our time by someone who lives in Toronto, who works in Toronto. And that person works a day shift in Toronto, but it's as if he was in Australia. He's not actually a foreign correspondent. He just operates our site in Toronto.
Yeah.
So
it's outsourced globally as well, and that's a very different sort of model. But just back to that question of, given that the bulk of profits and revenue still come from the newspapers, the hard copies, and will for some time, it's hard to see the business model for rushing to online.
Well, you shouldn't. Nobody should rush. That's for sure. They should take it easy. They should be careful about it. But if it's
Fairfax
the case,
appears to be rushing after many years of sitting on their hands.
Well, that's right. They have a bit of catching up to do. They did waste a bit of time. That is true, and so they have to catch up. But I mean, the thing is, they have to adjust to their customers. I mean, basically everybody, whether you're in this publishing business or in any business, the customers will dictate to you what your revenue is going to be and how they want to receive the product. And that's what's going on in publishing. The customers are saying, this is how we want to get it now. And that is, you're right, that is a different level of revenue online to what they're used to in newspapers. $1 in newspapers turns into 12 cents online. That's a very challenging change. It basically means lower costs. There's really no way around it.
But you've also got to get a lot more customers to make those 12 cents add up to $1.
Exactly. And there are more customers available, and the reason for that is because it's not a zero-sum game anymore, whereas people used to, or currently subscribe to either the Telegraph, the Telegraph or the Sydney Morning Herald or the Australian. They'll tend to consume all of them online, so the same, everyone's got the same customer really, so in a sense the market is doubling and tripling because, you get those same people all the time. But nevertheless, costs have to be reduced, and that's what all newspaper publishers are doing. They're cutting their costs, trying to meet the market, meet what their customers are demanding, and that's both readers and advertising customers, to be clear about it.
Yeah. Alan, just a couple of points in our remaining few minutes. In your opinion, will newspapers fade out?
Yeah, I do. Newspapers on paper, in print, will fade out. I mean, I think the idea
you've made the move already. You were a long-time newspaper guy, and now you only work online.
Totally, yeah. I mean, I think the idea that you'll get your information in a newspaper is ridiculous because it comes out once a day. You find out this morning what happened yesterday. Well, that's stupid.
All right.
So, everyone's going to be using newspapers for something else if they do use newspapers.
So within 10 years or within 5 years, will they be gone?
I've no idea. I mean, look, I think the magazines will persist. It's a question of whether newspaper publishers can come up with a product on paper that people still want to buy.
Yeah.
Because they're not going to want to buy them to find out what happened on the stock market, right? Or they're not going to find out what happened, what happened. They want to buy them. They might want to buy them to read. And if newspaper publishers can do that, then maybe they'll have a longer life than 10 years. All
right, just one extra point. We've only got a few seconds. Gina Rinehart wants board seats and influence, we understand, at Fairfax Media. In your view, is she the threat to journalistic independence and even democracy as she's been portrayed in some quarters?
No, of course not. I mean, she's got a point of view, that's true. And if she tries to turn the Age and the Sydney Morning Herald into mining, promotion sheets, then of course she'll destroy those papers. That's not a threat to democracy necessarily, but it's a threat to those papers. I don't think she's that stupid. She won't do that, but she certainly wants to get influence herself. And if she's got the money, if she wants to do it, she'll get it.
All right, Alan Kohler, we will leave it there, but thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure, Helen.
And that's all for this edition of Late Agenda. Stay with us for Paul Murray Live, and please remember to join the team for AM Agenda in the morning. I'll see you soon.